What's up, Buck fans? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of the Aftermath Bucks Report, 102.9, the game, Broad Street South Radio. And what's up to Instagram people as well? We're going live today. We got a lot of shit to talk about. Again, one of the big topics is going to be where is the love, media, when it comes to the Bucks in these rankings, not just in the NFL, but the games. We got a lot of venting to do, and then we're going to be talking about certain situations of players that need to be immediate stars and the ones that can progress over time. So sit back, get your beer, get your popcorn, and let's get ready for the damn show. Let's go. What's up again, Buck fans? Welcome to the Aftermath Bucks Report on 102.9 The Game, Broad Street South Radio. One of your hosts, AJ Turner. In the house, we got Coach Slick, a.k.a. the British guy who's always fly, and he is a division-winning coach, so we're going to put some respect on his name, and that just means he's going to be the champ real soon. Make football violent again. I love it. Yes. And I'm going to add on to that. Make football violent and real again. This is not WE. This is not for the faint of heart. If I want to see people get put on their ass, if I just want to see people throwing up 40 or 50 points, I'd watch flag fucking football in the flag football league where I'm at in D.C., in the DMV area. I don't want that shit. I want to see people who are getting paid millions of dollars get put on their asses. Oh, what about the health? Fuck that. Their money is their health. They can pay for that. They got facilities. These are supposed to be some of the most conditioned people. They know what they signed up for. This is football. You're supposed to be hurt for the most part because, like I said, your millions are going to back you up. And when people say, oh, well, the taxes and all that bullshit, if you get a $50 million deal and you walk away with 30 and you blow it all away, that's your stupid ass fault. But anywho, again, welcome again, guys. We're here to just break shit down. How you doing, Slick?
I looked at some of these ratings, and of course, we're always under the radar. But I tell you one thing: these lower ratings or these things, it shows you how good someone like Gerald McCoy really was, because he was always ranked quite high. He always got media respect. So it's hard to do as a Buccaneer. You got who you got to kill. You know, you have to get some respect.
Yep. Exactly. And again, shout out to everybody on Instagram. What's going on, Self-Made Codes? I got to give you a shout out. I'm doing good, man. Washington Commanders, they should be the Commodores. Look, I'm going to just be real with y'all. If we do things right, the Commodores are going to be destroyed. We're going to be whooping their ass all night long, all night. Look, that's how bad it's going to be. But yes, let's get back to the rankings. Of course, the rankings are always going to be shit. Of course, because we are the Buccaneers. We are the organization that is not going to get respect. We have to take it. And that's why I don't mind when some Buc fans come out truculent and we talk our shit. I do not mind that that's why I enjoy the Warren Sapps of our days, because people thought he was an asshole. Yes and no. But when he came on that field, he was the best and he played the best. And this is why, again, we know that certain media, not certain, but most medias do not watch the Bucs. When they say they watch that all 22 bullshit, I go, you don't even know what you're watching for. You probably watched one all 22 and you was like, yeah, see, he did this. So how can you say that? Like, motherfucker, you didn't watch the Bucs players. I'm still stuck on the fact that they said...
I said reputation more than anything. I don't even think they look at much film. I think it's basically based off reputation in prime, possibly. They look at places, primetime games, maybe. Big market games, those kinds of things. Game of the weeks and stuff like that.
Yes.
I like, for the sake of argument, Terry McLaughlin, big-time wide receiver, really, really good. Everyone keeps rating him above Mike Evans, yet he still has not had a season where he's played better than Mike Evans. Yet every year they'll say that he's a better wide receiver than Mike Evans, yet he hasn't done the shit. Now, I'm not shitting on Terry, because I think Terry's a very good wide receiver, but How can the media turn around and say this guy's better than Mike Evans when he's never actually eclipsed him in any shape or form? Like, how's that physically possible? Like, most touchdowns he's ever had in his career was his first year, 7. Most yardage he's ever had in his career is 1,191. He's
right.
never beaten Mike Evans in one stat since he's been in the league. He's never beaten Mike Evans, yet he's always rated above him, and I don't understand why. Like, it makes no sense to me.
He's because again, it's the Washington team is still a very high marketable team, despite them being shit. This is the nation's capital, so they're gonna get that. Certain teams are gonna get that recognition. But I agree. I didn't even think AJ Brown was better than Mike Evans this year. Now I told people this.
Wasn't he the number 1 guy?
Yeah, he was ranked higher, but I was telling people this. It's not just about the regular season. It's also about if you carried on past the regular season into the playoffs. Mike Evans made noise in the playoffs this year. I tell people, go back and watch that Detroit game. If the way that he was hungry, if Baker was targeting Mike Evans than Cade Otton, the Bucs win that game. Detroit, again, Lions, you were blessed. Don't worry, you got lucky. But AJ Brown had a strong early season, but he flamed out. That's what I don't understand. These guys flamed out. Now, everybody wants to already deem Amon St. Brown the next great thing. Slick, you've already said this before. We need 4 to 5 years of that shit. He just got here. How are you?
You can turn around and say someone's had a great year and someone's had an amazing, and even an amazing year. You can't turn around and say they're the best wide receiver in football. Of that year, you could make an argument or a case for it. But realistically, in my opinion, I think you have to do a little bit more than to look at Amon St. Brown. Was to pull him up for a second.
No, he had a strong year, but I tell people sometimes just because you're a high volume receiver does not mean you are the best. CeeDee Lamb had a very high volume season. Would I say he's an elite receiver? Absolutely not. A very good receiver, yes.
Got the makings of an elite receiver, but keyword there. The makings. Hasn't quite done it yet.
Hasn't quite done it yet.
You have to have consistency. Someone like Jay Jets, he's shown that consistency time after time. I will give that boy his due. That man his due. He's done the shit. He's got that second contract, deservedly so. And he's arguably in that conversation of the top tier wide receivers.
Yes.
Then you go down to the next step, and Amon St. Brown. I'm looking at his stats right now. Yeah, he took a giant leap in his 3rd year. A giant leap. His first year was impressive. His first year was solid. Second year was better, and then the next year he kind of went off, and that was they sorted themselves out. But that's also the shape of the team. You look at the team; they were better put together than they were in those other years. So I think a lot of people give him the benefit of that. But
I agree.
He's only got 2 years over 1,000 yards. So when you look at it like that, it's only 2 years.
It's
we've seen the Odell Beckhams of the Odell Beckham Juniors of the world disappear.
Plenty of times, and I agree 100% what you said about the team. When the team is better, typically that does mean that your receivers are going to get better because they're going to have more opportunity. Mike Evans, his first 5 years, he worked with what he had. I tell people that's what makes a player. If your player relies on a system or another group of people to thrive, that's not a real player. Evans showed out each year. Despite, what about that one season he had 1,001 yards? Okay. Did you look at the quarterback he had that year? Exactly. Did you look at the system that he was in? He was playing on a bad team. Because I said this. All the excuses for people when they're saying, well, Justin Jefferson, he needs a better quarterback. I don't want to hear that shit because he started with Kirk Cousins. Do you think Justin Jefferson would have gotten 1,000 yards, Slick, with Josh McCown as his quarterback? I would love to debate that. That's a great debate.
In his first year, probably not. In his second year, maybe.
Exactly. First year, he wouldn't have got it because you know why? Their styles are different. A receiver like Justin, I will say he's all well-rounded, but however, if you don't have a quarterback that knows how to get him the rock, see, with Evans, his rookie year, look at what he was doing. They threw it up, and he went and got it. He's a go-getter. Justin can be too, but you can take him out the game faster. When Justin and guys like that don't get their way, when they don't get that ball enough, that's why I tell people being a high volume receiver doesn't make you the best. We had a Michael Thomas, well, not we, but the Saints had a Michael Thomas who was old slant boy. You had to get him the rock, but then what happens when you took it away? When you took his comfortable blanket of the slant away, he vanished. He evaporated. That's the whole point. You can't do that to Evans. Look at Detroit. The first play, he dropped it out of his hands and there was an interception. But what does he do? He came back and he made shit happen. Now, that's why the 26, I like it because it's better from last year than 53. However, I still would have said you put Mike Evans in the top 20. But let's get to the first order of business, Slick, because first of all, before we even do that, we're going to bring in our guest, Louis of the Frozen Pirate, because I want him in on this because he said, don't get me started. We're going to get you started. What's up, my man? How you doing, Louis?
What do you hear? What do you say, boys? Don't even get me started with the Mike Evans situation, all right? So Mike Evans has been underrated for pretty much his whole career, and I knew the kid was going to be special as soon as I seen him blow up Terrence Newman his rookie year. Y'all remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised in the lack of respect that this man gets. I mean, considering what he did last year, I mean, look at some of those catches he made. What about the catch he made against the Eagles in the playoffs? I mean, that was probably
Odell Beckham. That'd be a highlight reel being played over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I've already had this argument with people at the barbershop before about this was years ago. Some kid was literally very upset with me because I said Mike Evans is better than Odell Beckham Jr. And the stats don't lie. What did I say last week, boys? The stats don't lie. Where's Odell Beckham Jr. now?
Where's
Odell from team to team to try and get a job?
Exactly. Yeah. And let's bring in another special guest because that was good. I want everybody to talk about that because that's brilliant. We have a Tony Adame in the house. What's up, Tony? First of all, welcome to Bucs Report, the Aftermath. Thank you for joining us. How you doing tonight, my man?
Good. Thank you for having me on. I've been enjoying listening to the conversation. So,
my man, yes. Can you please tell the new family a little about yourself so they can get acquainted to you?
I am a sports writer for Heavy.com, and the Bucs are part of my coverage. So I spend a lot of time studying the Buccaneers. I live in Florida in Pensacola Beach, so spend a lot of time, going over Bucs stuff. And the stuff about Evans is so interesting. I did have an Evans take too, where I thought that I'm sure you guys watched the Netflix show Receiver, and I thought it was such a missed opportunity not to have him on there because he's got such a compelling backstory and he's so well-spoken and he's so beloved in the community. And you watch what they did get on there. Some of the guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, no thanks. Deebo Samuel, didn't really have a personality. And then Jefferson was hurt most of the time. And I just watching it, I thought that it would have been so great to have Evans on there.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Evans is I think he's more of a guy who keeps to himself. When he talks, he'll but he doesn't have the personality that the media can exploit. He's not an IG honey. He's not like Odell is literally the guy. He's the poster child for Soul Glow. If y'all know what Soul Glow is, that's who he is. He's that kind of person. He's that kind of personality where, in a way, it's entertaining. He's basically the housewives of the NFL. He throws tantrums. He hits the fucking field goal post, and then he tries to make jokes. He's the guy who likes to tan on the boat with his homies and get up out of jacuzzi underwater with a bunch of dudes. That's who Odell is. He's the guy that you can watch. And look,
but y'all didn't say that.
That's who he. I said what I said because a lot of his antics are the reason why. Let me ask you guys this: if you are all owners right now of the New York Giants, do you think that investment in Odell Beckham paid off? Adame, I want to start with you, my man. If you're the owner right now for the New York Giants, and they said, well, how do you feel about Odell behind closed doors and no cameras? What do you think you would say?
I would say that we got a lot off of we got a lot out of him. I think he was so popular when he was with the Giants, and he brought so much attention to them. If you're just talking bottom line, now if we're talking on the field, I'd say he came up short. But it's money. And he made them a lot of money. I mean, there was, you got a 3 or 4 year stretch where he was one of the most popular players in the NFL with the Giants. End result, though, you can't be too happy with it, with what's on the field, I guess.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for that. What about you, Louis? You're the owner.
I mean, I just got a text come in from somebody who's watching, and they said that Odell Beckham has been overhyped since that one famous catch. I'm not gonna lie, the kid was a phenomenal talent. He was. The problem with him is he had the Devin White syndrome, where success caught up to him way too early in his career.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with Tony 100%. He made the Giants a shit ton of money with jerseys, merch, all that stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, can you really build a franchise around a guy like that who's getting hit in the head with a kicker's net, you know, throwing temper tantrums? That's what I said at the barbershop between the Mike and Odell conversation, is that Odell can never be Mike, can't hold a candle to him. I mean, as far as merch goes, yeah, I mean, Odell's going to sell all that because that's just Odell's personality is more popular, but as overall as a human being and a cornerstone of a franchise, he can't hold a candle to Mike Evans. So, just saying.
Slick, take it away. You the owner. Hey,
I mean,
about Odell.
Next. Next.
Okay, I'm the owner.
No, I'll give it to you straight. He's on his fifth NFL team now. So moving off on him wasn't a bad idea. You got the Giants got the most production out of him. The most production. Now you could argue the Rams got a little bit more out of him because it came into a Super Bowl. But it's not like he thrust them into a Super Bowl. It wasn't like his play helped what have you, but he was more of a supportive cast member rather than the guy. He did shine in that Super Bowl, same way as Antonio Brown shined in the Super Bowl for us when we won the Super Bowl. But he wasn't the cornerstone player. He wasn't the man. It was somebody else. It was the quarterback. It was the other wide receiver. It was the other people around. Even Tyler Higbee was probably a bigger cornerstone player of that team. So the Giants would sit there, a load of money made, got the most production out of him, probably put the Giants back on the map a little bit just as a brand. But yeah, they got the most out of him, and that's all good. He'll be one of those players that everyone will sign if the price is right, just because he could still do something.
Just bring attention. If I'm the GM, I'm like, he made us some money, but overall, it was a shit show in the process. The money was nice, but what did they do as a team? They were shitty. He didn't lead them anywhere. He caused a lot of drama. If I'm the owner, I'm like, this is all you caused. We produced, you got us a few views and stuff and got us more clicks, which is good because it's always good to make money. But overall, you guys just said it's like he won a Super Bowl with another franchise. Now, granted, he didn't do anything truly, and that little soft ass crying. I'm like, bro, stop it.
I would have traded him, honestly, like in all reality, as if I was a GM of that team. Yeah. I would have traded him right after that playoff loss.
Yes, exactly. You
would have got more bang for your buck. You would have got some picks. At that time, like a lot of people would have said, "Oh, you're crazy." You're not crazy, believe me.
You're not crazy.
You're not crazy because you've already seen key guys produce in the playoffs. How many catches did he have? In the playoff game?
Yeah, the real MVP of that Rams team, and Slick knows this, guys, but I've always said this, is Von Miller. That was the game changer. If there's no Von Miller, our beloved Bucs would have been back-to-back champions. That's who pisses me off. If it wasn't for Von Miller being on that team, Odell was just the cherry on the top. Even when he scored his little touchdown in the Super Bowl, we all were sitting back like, I know I was. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but even when he was with the Giants, when they had that playoff game, remember they all went on the yacht? That was the time, right? They went on the yacht.
Yeah, he was on the yacht.
How many catches did he have that game? How many catches? Does anybody know?
I think maybe 2.
I don't remember. I don't even think he had a catch that game. If I'm not mistaken, right then and there as a GM, I would have been like, all right, I'm going to get more value for this guy. I got to get him out of here. Because at the end of the day, I mean, really, what did he produce?
The picture where they all had their pants on and their Timberlands on the
boat.
I don't know, man.
So weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay to challenge that. I'm sitting there like, all right, my biggest question was, why are you coming out of jacuzzi underwater with a bunch of men? It's like, come on, Odell. And then you already have the look where it's like, all right, man. And I'd say it to his face. I'd be like, look, you got this opportunity and you're throwing it away, because I love when people say, well, he had Eli. You mean the 2-time Super Bowl winning Eli? Don't get me started on that. I don't care what you think about him. That's a Super Bowl quarterback, and he just couldn't do it.
I would have took Eli Manning over half of the quarterbacks that came through to the Bucs from since the Gruden era prior to Tom Brady.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
Just me.
Absolutely.
A lot of people say, oh, Eli Manning was garbage. Oh, he was garbage. And, kind of ruined Odell's career. Are you fucking kidding me? Look the quarterbacks that Mike Evans has had to play with. There was no excuses.
And I guarantee you this, guys, 10 years down the line, they're going to do it, and it's going to piss us off. But hopefully we're there to be like, now you need to let the Bucs fans talk about this. Yeah, Mike Evans really did really good. But despite the quarterback play, he showed up. We're going to be like, motherfucker, we told y'all that back in 2024 and 2023 and 2022. But you know what? Y'all were too busy deriding other people. Oh, I'm on St. Brown because his name sounds cool. It is a cool name. But, what about Devontae Adams? Devontae hasn't been producing like shit since Aaron Rodgers is gone. Oh,
what I got to say to those people?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
That's that.
Pretty much. Pretty much,
because
Tony, we are very raw on here. We keep it.
Yeah.
Look, we speak our minds. If you want to get it, if you want to say some flip farm filth, you can. If not, if you want to keep it classy, we respect that too.
Just how interesting about Evans, though. He is so quiet and never gets the credit, and is always so amazing. I mean, that goes back to college with Manziel, where all anybody talked about was how great Manziel was, and if you knew football and watched Texas A&M play, you'd say, well, the reason that he's so good is because of Evans. Evans was the guy.
Yeah.
It's kept going. And he did play with some terrible quarterbacks in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and if Evans was a shinier personality like Levante David, those guys would get more recognition. But because they keep to themselves and they're about playing ball, they don't get that. Like I said, the media likes to exploit people no matter what. That's why Odell's of the world got recognition. That's why Devin White's got the recognition. And it's funny you say that, Louis, because the funny thing is, Odell, how the fuck you supposed to have a Devin White complex and you didn't accomplish anything to be that way? Devin White at least had a Super Bowl and he shined when it mattered in the playoffs in 2020. But Odell, you just had a one-arm catch and you like to show your abs and show your cheeks at the same time. So where's that? Like, where's the mindset at?
To end this conversation, because I don't even think Odell deserves any more time. So to end this conversation, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get a little deep. All right. So we all know about Mike Evans. I remember watching him play in college. I didn't think the Bucs were going to go after him at the time. I thought the Bucs were probably going to go after a quarterback, maybe Johnny Manziel. Hey, that was just me. And when they drafted Mike, I got to know who he was just by reading up on him, and then they did the 30 for 30. Mike is a prime example of how you should be, how you should act in the NFL, how you should carry yourself as an NFL player. I mean, look back at his childhood, what he went through, what he saw, that traumatic experience. A lot of kids would have fell victim to gang violence and just being a complete terror and just falling into that lifestyle. Not him. He just played ball. He forgave who he forgave. He lost his father in the process. I mean, it was a tragic story, but here we are today, and he gives so much back to the community. He's not on boats, taking his shirt off before a playoff game. You see this dude grinding. You see him giving back to the community all the time. I mean, I donate $20 every month to his foundation just because it's such a great cause. A lot of these guys with all this money, you don't really see them doing too much. You see Mike doing a lot of shadow work in the shadow. And that's why he doesn't need all that recognition. That's why I love Mike Evans, man. Mike Evans is the man, dude. He's
yes, he is. And I want to show this list, guys, on Madden that they got, and we can go over it. We're not going to talk about Odell anymore. We're going to talk about these guys. I want you to guys, Tony, I want to start with you. Do you agree with this list? If you had your say, well, first of all, what would your true ranking of if you had to rate Mike Evans in Madden, what would you rank him at?
Well, just looking at this list, who I'd put him ahead of, off the top of my head, Diggs, Adams, Brown, So I'd have him up at least 3 or 4 spots. And then after that, it's pretty debatable. Maybe Ayuk, because, Ayuk, I don't know how much that plays off of McCaffrey and Samuel. So 4, maybe 5 guys on this list I'd put him ahead of. But, not Hill, Jefferson, Lamb. That's pretty unassailable. But I agree with what you said earlier. You thought he might be better than A.J. Brown. I mean, I definitely think I'd take him in a big game. I'd take Evans over Brown. So, yeah, 3 or 4 of those guys I put him ahead of.
Thank you. I hear you, Tony. What about you, Louis?
I can't stand Madden because they've been hating on Mike for a long time. His rating is terrible, 91 overall. If it was me, I'd have him tied at 3rd with CeeDee Lamb. I'd have him at 96 overall, just because Mike produces for the team when they need it the most. He gives them that spark, and that's what elite players do. A.J. Brown quits on his team. Amar St. Brown. It's too early to tell. I mean, yeah, I'd have Mike Evans tied at 3rd with CeeDee Lamb.
I like it. What about you, Coach Slick?
I'll go. He can't beat out Tyreek Hill or Jay Jets. He's got to be in that 3rd or 4th spot. One of those. And I think the thing when it comes to Madden, and I think that does go against Mike Evans, is his lateral quickness. His route running tree isn't the most extensive. It never has been. But that's not part of his game. It's not how he plays. But I think when you're building a rating system, you're using all these other skill sets that potentially heat up the acceleration, change of direction, all that kind of thing, which some of those guys might have in spades, which is why it might put him up the list. I'm not justifying it. I'm just looking at it from a different objective, but it's still bullshit to me.
I agree
100%. 3rd, 95, 96. You have to, and if anything, to go further in what Slick was saying, what he's good at, that's what they should thrive in, and say, hey, this is what he excels in, which should be jump ball 98 or 99, catching traffic 96. If you want to say his hands are 92, I don't mind that, because he can get the dropsies here and there. Route running at best at 88 or 89. But even this, guys, I think Chris Godwin's ranking at 85 was disrespectful. Chris Godwin's at least a minimum of 89. So I you're right. The Bucs get terrible reviews because they don't fit in. Certain players don't fit into, like Slick said, what they think is good. And it's like, that's not always true. You should go by what they excel in, because they do that shit for other players they like. Like certain teams, players get X factors. And I'm like, okay, Evans should be an X factor player because his catching in traffic is where it's.
I think he's an X factor in Madden.
He is an X factor player.
Yeah, he's an X factor.
I don't know if he's an X factor this year, but he was the last couple of years.
Yeah,
that's crazy if he's not one this year. That's
Can
crazy.
I ask you guys a question about the Buccaneers wide receivers, actually, that I've been curious about is, so do the coaches not think that McMillan can play outside of the slot? Because it seems like he might be their second or third best wide receiver this year. They don't think that they can have Godwin play the slot and then Evans and McMillan play the other 2 spots. They're just totally tied to McMillan being Godwin's backup, I guess, or what is the situation there?
I mean, it depends on what package you're going into. So if you're going to go into a pure spread package, which I know that AJ would be screaming himself for, he does love himself a spread, but that he'll be that de facto spread, that de facto guy. But you could also put him in where you would bump potentially. I know that they were talking about putting Chris Godwin more in the slot. But you could easily flex him out if you like what you're getting from your other guys, and that way you would have McMillan and all 3 of those guys on, and I'm trying to remember Trey Palmer as well. So if you wanted to have speed on the inside and a little bit of speed on the outside, and then you got Mike Evans keeping the hurts, you could easily do that on certain plays.
I will say this is probably one of the deepest wide receivers room that they've had in a long time, because like I'm looking at like the roster right now, and a lot of people, everyone's talking about McMillan and Sterling Shepard and Godwin. Like, I think we forgot about how good Trey Palmer was late in the season and in the playoffs. That push that he made, like his coming out game was against Philadelphia. Like I said, Baker's got no shortage of targets here, but I mean, I have been hearing a lot about Jalen McMillan and stuff like that.
He's killing it, man. I
know, but it's only going to open up the slot for Godwin. Like I said, I had this mapped out in the last episode. Slot.
Yes, sir.
Like, I think Godwin's gonna have a monster year this year, like a scary, scary year, because it is a contract year. Remember that, guys. It is a contract year. These guys tend to show up, unless your name's Devin White. But these guys tend to show up, man. Don't get me started on.
And I'm glad that you guys talked about that. And Tony, this is like Slick said, Louis. The reason why I am an advocate for the spread is because you can do a lot of things that I think a lot of defenses cannot handle. First of all, a mobile quarterback in the spread is dangerous. And some of the greatest plays that's known to man that I have dominated and I've done with certain plays on the field and in Madden, of course, but I can put that shit in real life with the players we got, is the crossing routes. The crossing routes are my specialties. I love it.
Crossing
routes, Tony, set up so many things, not just in the passing, but even the run game. With the speed of Palmer and the route running ability of Godwin, I think people don't realize that's why the Bucs, Levante of the world are special, because every linebacker on teams we know are not always good. So by saying that, I mean the spread is going to fuck linebackers up so much they can't load that box. So then what I would do, keep that spread going. Once the crossing route gets you, okay, HB draw up the gut, because if they out of the box, that's easily with this line now, that's a minimum 3 to 4 yards of run. But like you said, Louis, I think with Trey Palmer, the reason why he's been overlooked is because, believe it or not, I think people just looked at him as Scotty Miller 2.0. But if they really pay attention, that's not who he is. He can catch in traffic. Go back to the first Saints game where Baker literally threw the ball up and he grabbed that shit out of the air and he knows how to land on his feet. I want the Bucs to get the spread going because the spread would mean so much. The Bucs are, especially with Baker, he is a mobile guy. His duality will be such a threat to defenses that you want defenses to always be second guessing themselves. With a guy that's why with Brady the last year we had the shittiest OC and Byron, but with Brady he could stand still, so he was an easy target. That's why I think the play that won Baker over to the Bucs was never a throw. It was his legs in Minnesota when he ran for that first down. That immediately made the Bucs say, "We got us a quarterback here."
Get your weight up, little man.
That's why I think the spread would work, in my opinion. But with our weapons, there's no excuse. If you're Liam Cohen, there's no excuse. Of course, get the run game going, but use the pass to set up the run. I know people will always say use the run instead of the pass, but we have so many weapons. Don't try to force a triangle into a rectangle. That's why we were having shitty games last season when Canals was forcing the run. Now, like if you agree or disagree, that's fine. But what is y'all take on it, Tony? What is your take on that?
About the spread, about what Cohen is going to do, whatever Mayfield tells him. I feel like they brought him in just to essentially. It's kind of a dual play caller sort of thing. I think he's really he knows his strengths too. So I'm with you. I want to see the spread more. Coach Slick didn't have a great look on his face when you were talking about the spread so much. He had almost like a 4 yards and a cloud of dust look on his face. But
no. I'm for it. It's the crossing routes I'm not a believer in. I like outbreaking routes. I like to use the side.
You're also going to end up with a lot of guys hurt.
Yeah, I think going over the middle too.
Yeah, yes and no. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to take. You know why? Because you got a lot of linebackers that's going to be sucking wind. And let's be real, every linebacker is not good in coverage. I think most linebackers would rather defend the run because they know it's just straight shot, get through some people. But can you imagine trying to run and zigzag, catching a guy who runs a 4.31? And mind you,
I love an in and out. I love an in and out. Fake the in, go back out, hit the flats, work the field.
I like the spread. I do. But at the end of the day, honestly, I think this offense, and I'm going to wait for the reactions on the faces. I think this offense first has to go through with Rashad White, and you make him pay dearly with Mike, Chris, Jalen, Trey. Like I said, when I say Baker has unlimited targets here, I said 2,000 all-purpose yards for Rashad White.
Yes, you did.
I think this is a year that because I've seen him what he can do with the ball. And like I said, the one key stat that a lot of people tend to leave out is that he was second behind Christian McCaffrey in yards after contact. And like I said, I think this offense has got to run through Rashad White. I think that I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass here, but I think that I like the spread. I do.
Everyone's got an opinion, dude, and everyone's got a feeling of what they think is right. There's no one's to say you're wrong. The only way you find out if you're right or wrong is what happens on game day.
Yeah, because like I said, what happens, right, Coach? This is a good question for you. What happens if you have a running back like a Derrick Henry? What does defenses tend to do? They tend to line up in the box more. Yeah, that's why I said like you have burners and McMillan and Palmer. Mike hasn't slowed down. You throw the ball up perfectly. This is why I'm saying, like, you have to. I think Canales had the right idea. He just didn't know how to execute it. And I don't think, like Todd Bowles said, this is the right 53 here that they have. Like, so I don't think Canales was a bad offensive coordinator because at the end, no matter what you do, if it's the first time you're doing something, you're never going to be really that good at it. And we all had our opinion about what he did. He should have never left. He should have just stood and continued because that was a death sentence, man. But I don't think he truly utilized Rashad White in that offense. Like that's why I'm rooting for Liam Cohen. And like I said, he's a neighbor of mine, not literally, but he grew up right up 15 minutes up the road, man. So it's like I think the offense has to go through Rashad White. And then you can run those spread offenses and just kill the defense after that.
Hey, look, if it works, I would personally be like, Rashad, you the MVP. I just want Rashad White to be careful because we have to be real. He's not the full all-purpose guy who's the true north and south and that can bang it out. And that's why the running game had issues because Rashad sometimes did not hit the hole right. Now, for someone like who loves the running back position, who's played it before, especially even in backyard, you have to be willing to hit the hole and explode. If you hesitate, that's how you you get yourself fucked up because somebody can run you, it can knock you over. You have to be willing to pinball yourself through there. And we don't want Rashad White to have to be that. That's why I like Bucky Irvin. He could be.
I was just about to say that. That's why Bucky's here.
Yep, a good combination. But yes, I want Rashad in that passing too because we know what screens. If you give him a screen, he gone. Minimum is 20 yards.
Well, so another thing too that killed Rashad White last year was the inconsistency of the offensive line. And what do I keep saying, guys? And I say this on my show all the time. The game is won in the trenches, and if your offensive line is not getting a good push, you can tell that you can dictate who's taking over the game by the push up front. You know what I'm saying? That determines a lot, man. If the quarterbacks can't pressure, we've seen it with Brady. That last year with Brady, man, that offensive line could not hold up. We saw it with Ryan Jensen gone. You know what I'm saying? Like this year, I mean, we'll get into that later on with the injury that was suffered at training camp. But this offensive line is more polished, and I don't really have any like doubts about the offensive line. That's why I said, man, watch out for Rashad White. You give this kid a clean hole, he can make you miss.
Oh, 100%. Now, I want to switch it off, guys, because this one was the biggest insult. I almost lost it. I was about to get on TikTok and rant, but I was like, before I say something that's going to be deemed as mean, you got to be careful on TikTok. But this one right here took the cake. What in the entire fuck?
Didn't I say in the last episode? I said that this dude, I expect him to be in the top 20 or top 10 at least.
Yeah, I'd say top 20. You can't be one of the best in your position, if not the best in your position that year. Because they vote on the year. It's not like, and this is the problem with the voting on this, is they tend to talk about, like, I think even Aaron Rodgers got voted. Aaron Rodgers hardly did anything. Aaron Jordan is like 50 on this list or something.
It's a popularity contest.
Is Winfield being there, is that more disrespectful than Wirfs being at 85?
Yes, because
it's disrespectful because. Yeah, go ahead, Slick.
I think for me, and this is just my opinion, Christian Wirfs wasn't as good last year because he switched positions. He's not as good as a left tackle as he is a right tackle. That's a fact.
I agree with that.
He's also a very good left tackle. You put him back to right tackle, he'll shoot all the way up to like top 25 or something like that. But the thing is, finding left tackles is really difficult. If they can't find one, they're better off putting him there and putting someone else at right tackle.
I agree with that.
100%.
But think of the money you get. You can play left tackle and right tackle at a Pro Bowl-ish at a Pro Bowl level. People are.
Oh, he's going to break the bank. He's going to break the bank. I'm telling you right now that he should be, because I mean the versatility that he brings left and right tackle. It's like I said last week on last week's show. It's if you want to find out how hard it is to transition. If you're a righty, you brush your teeth with your right hand. Try brushing your teeth with your left hand, and try writing with your left hand.
Absolutely. And to go by what Slick said, also Antoine Winfield played the best his position. Tristan Wirfs, as much as I love him, he didn't, but that's okay. That's to be expected.
He was a top 10 tackle easily.
Hey, listen, man, if you can switch over to left tackle again, like that's to me. I mean, I don't know how many penalties he had this year. I know he had maybe a couple, maybe 3 or 4, if that.
Oh, it was still low. It was still very low.
Still low, dude. Still low. So I mean,
he did a hell of a job.
He's probably he was. I mean, I would say who's better at left tackle than him? Than maybe Trent Williams. Who else is there? You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it, really. But for Antoine to play the way that he played, we all can agree. Without Antoine on this defense this year, the Bucs don't make the playoffs. And he shined. He showed out. He did everything that the other people that they was putting above him did not. Jesse Bates is a great safety. Kyle Hamilton, great safety. The best? Hell no. They weren't punching the balls out near the end zone and when certain players gave up. They weren't blitzing and effectively. They weren't able to cover as well. Antoine gave you everything.
Them guys.
But again, he played for the Bucs. I guarantee you guys, if he played for Dallas, he'd get a 99 like Micah Parsons, who also I believe should not have gotten a fucking 99, because when the playoffs come, Micah Parsons disappears and he turns into Twitter fingers. But Winfield at 46, he should have been at least number 10, number 9 or something. Winfield at 46 is disrespectful, because then we got to go to the safety ratings. They put him at a 94, but they give Bates a 97. It's like, what? And I thought he was deemed the best by the league. So how is he a 94 and Bates is a 97?
Why? Because he
plays for Atlanta? What the hell did
Atlanta do? What do you get these fucking idiots, huh? Where do you get them?
Where do you get the fucking idiots that make the rankings, man? All right. Where do you get the
I haven't.
So at the end of the day, it is Madden. Madden has been a trash game for quite some time now. I mean, I haven't played it in a year. So it's, how can I put this in the nicest way possible? You know what, Tony, I'll let you take this one, because I don't want to say
they look like shit because of the college football 25 game. It really, because it's the only football game that's got attention close to a Madden, and it comes out and it's just so overwhelmingly good and deep and well done. It just makes you think that maybe they should put out Madden every other year. It really has put it in stark contrast. And Madden's had some really bad years in the last decade. But this year more than any, we can really tell how little effort they put into it. I got your Wirfs stat for you. Wirfs last year was career high 5 offsides, career low, no holding penalties.
I mean, in his career, what does he have? Under 11? I believe it's
holding penalties. He's only been called for holding like 5 or 6 times his whole career. But last year he was, to what Coach Slick said with the position switch, he obviously was jumping off sides because he was really probably hyper aware of getting beat. So
I mean, and that will come with time. But to be able to be a Pro Bowl left tackle and then the year before be a Pro Bowl All Pro right tackle, it just tells you how good that player is. But I think that's probably why he faded down the list, because he isn't as good as a left tackle as there are other left tackles. But as a right tackle, he's probably top 3 or number 1.
No, Right tackle number 1 by fucking far. Left tackle to be at 3, as we just said, dual. That means he can brush his teeth both ways very well.
You like that analogy? I know you like that one.
You guys all think you guys all think that Wirfs is better than Sewell for the Lions.
Absolutely. Don't get me started on Detroit, guys. Remember, Detroit is the ugly girl that was ugly as shit from kindergarten through fucking high school.
Hold on, wait a minute. Whoa. Hold on.
She finally got herself together, and now they want to give her respect.
Look, I can't knock Detroit. I'm a little bitter about.
I can't.
I hear you, man. But I'm just saying I can't knock Detroit for what they did. I was actually rooting for them at the beginning of the season when they started to catch momentum. And then when they played us, I was just like, nah, fuck that. Let's go Bucs. And then once they beat us, normally I'd be like, fuck them. But I was just like, you know what? The better team won. At the end of the day, their head coach, the team, they're hungry, man. And, you know, they got a good squad out there. But as far as the comparison or like, I mean, I said that the Bucs are not going to lose to them this year. I don't think so. I think they got to receive their ass. But I'm just saying.
I don't like fans because they forgot where they came from.
Hold on, wait a minute. You don't like fans? You should have been. Oh no, hold on. You should have been. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do it. I'm from Massachusetts, Tony. If you don't know, I'm from Massachusetts. I've been a lifelong Bucs fan. I've had to watch the Patriots dynasty. All right, and I've been to so many Patriot games with my father, who's no longer here. You know, and I went to Tom Brady's last playoff game with the Patriots, and I went to his homecoming back to New England. Mm-hmm. Those fans are the worst fans in the world. Okay, well, I'm telling you, if you don't fucking believe me, all right, if you don't fucking believe me, come up to Massachusetts, hit me up, we'll get some tickets, we'll go there, we'll see the Patriots get the shit kicked out of them, and you're gonna see how nasty them fans are, dude. It's crazy.
I agree because first of all, being in the Northeast, they're out there. Because I've been Philly fans. Philly fans are the worst because they're the most disrespectful.
They're probably just alike. I'm not. I shit you not.
But at least for the Patriots, they've won. So they have the stripes. Detroit, they have been a doo-doo hole for the past years. But the thing is, it's okay to understand. All of a sudden now, we're the best out there. No, the fuck.
How many Hall of Famers have they had and just been shit? Seriously, exactly. You're gonna look at the Hall of Famer. Shit franchise, lots of talent.
You know how AJ describes the Lions like you hear people talk about when you see someone that's got on Ozempic and they lose a lot of weight. That's how AJ describes it.
Yes, the body positivity shit, and you're sitting back like they didn't put the work in, but then they get all this hype, and that's why I feel like if Detroit, you can't talk. You took 2 generational talent players and quit they left because you were so sorry. Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. How the fuck do you strike lightning twice in a bad way?
I had the franchise quarterback to go with it.
Didn't they draft 3 wide receivers in 3 years in the first round? Yeah, they did. Roy Williams.
That's my point. But the way that they were talking bad about us is like, and the reason why I said the better team did not win, Louis, is because the Bucs had a lot of shit going against them. Even the first touchdown when when Baker threw it to K, they wanted to call it offensive interference, and it didn't happen. They had to throw that shit back. I don't like when the league has a storyline because if you look at it, to be real, they shouldn't even gotten past the Rams. How many calls went in their favor? That's, to me, when you are a Cinderella team, they want to bring you in because, yes, the storyline is better for Detroit to get where they were last year. Yes, they finally been good. The Bucs, our beloved Bucs, were supposed to be shit. We all can agree to that. They thought.
Well, let me ask you guys this:
we're going to be better.
Let me ask you guys this. Are the Detroit Lions this year's Cincinnati Bengals after the Super Bowl?
Possibly, because you got to think of it this way.
Very similar stories.
Every NFL team adjusts. We don't know what's going to happen. People don't realize there's been a lot of teams that have done that, like the Bengals. When people adjust to you, it's a whole new ball game. I tell people it's a whole new ball game when you get adjusted, and that goes for anybody. That's what makes the NFL harder. That's why we love Bowles. What happened when the Chiefs beat the Bucs the first time in the 2020 run? Bowles said, "Oh, bet I got you," and we made Mahomes. Mind you, we're the last hope for this.
435 yards rushing in the wrong direction,
going backwards. And Tony, believe it or not, we are the only hope to stop the Chiefs' domination. Do you want to see the Chiefs win 3 in a row so they can put Mahomes to that level? We are the only hope in the NFC. Don't let nobody tell you different.
With regards to the Cincinnati thing, I would disagree for the sheer fact of the amount of players they lost after it. They just couldn't keep everybody. Also, their quarterback got injured. That does tend to make a massive difference to your season.
Detroit's got everybody coming back. They got everybody. Don't you guys just think the NFC's wide open again?
I don't see Detroit being bad. They will be a playoff team. Their division isn't that powerful. Yeah. Their division isn't that strong. The only real threat to their division, in my opinion, is probably the Packers, and I'm not sure where they are at this point. So I think they'll win their division and they'll be in the playoffs again.
Well, my co-host on my show, he's a huge Bears fan. He seems to think that the Bears are building something special.
They smoke a lot of crack down there. Got on the bath salts and everything.
Yeah. Sorry, Jamie. Sorry, buddy.
Jamie,
I'm sorry. You don't pin everything on a rookie quarterback. That's just stupid. He's going to have a development. If he's good, he has a development. Not everyone's going to have that Houston Texans season. That was amazingly impressive. But
that's a team that nobody's really talking about this year, though. The Houston Texans.
Oh no, I've got my eye. I got my
me too,
eye.
Man.
I expect
DJ Stroud is.
That's
the real deal, man.
One of our buddies, Steve, will tell you different. He'll be like, "Guys, I told you about the Texans last year, and he was right, damn it, because we lost." When he said, "Guys, they're better than what you think," I'm like, me and Slick like, nah, you capping. We gonna whoop that ass. And then and he was like, "I told you," and we all had to sit there. No, you are right. The Texans can be a dangerous
team. We ate like pro, didn't we?
Yes.
Pro.
Slick was right. Stroud was like the fucking Matrix. He was an anomaly, like Neo. Caleb, I don't even know if Caleb
doesn't happen that often. This is a guy who cries to his mom when he loses a fucking football game. What's he going to do in the NFL where people do not give a shit?
Right. And Keenan and they want Allen Keenan Allen to be Mike Evans so bad. And it's like, no. Is he good? But he's not where Evans is. I think they want the Bears to look like they're going to be good. I got the Bears going 7-10 this season.
That's a good record for them, though.
Yeah,
I think they're going to come out.
That's a trend in the right direction. You got another quarterback. He's going to get better. You might be able to get a few more pieces. You don't have to spend any money on a quarterback for a good while, so you can get some more pieces around him. You're probably going to get a decent pick in that area, so you'll be able to bring somebody in straight away who can contribute to your team straight away. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't want to. I know it sounds really uncompetitive saying this. Sometimes you don't want to hit the stars too early. You want to just develop what you've got and then just go all out. Unless you got the money. If you got the money, then go do it.
Louis, ask your friend if he'd be happy with 7-10.
Listen.
They don't want to go 7-10.
So y'all don't say that.
Listen, we're going to be doing a show later on this week. We're going to be critiquing the NFL, basically shitting on the NFL for the top 100 list. And I'm sure he's watching right now. So you guys can say hi to him. I got to deal with him later on this week. But
I'll give
actually tomorrow.
I'm nice.
I rock. Look, for him, what's up, my man? Thank you for kicking it with Louis. He's a cool ass dude, but Chicago, y'all still got ways to go. Don't listen to the media because unfortunately the media that isn't always right. And I do love, this is why we love the Bucs Report, the Aftermath, which you always got to check out on 102.9 Game Broad Street South Radio, because we like to question and challenge the so-called big people, the respectable journalists and all that shit, because we know 70% of the time you're talking out of your ass because you're getting paid to. And I can respect that. You give me a fat check to talk good about the Saints, it'll hurt, but the bills will be paid. I'll be like, the Saints are well-established organization. I'll be smiling like this, but in my soul, I'm going to be like, I can't do this shit. And the reason why I bring that up is because we got our person that I call the challenge of the day to this guy. And this is going to be former player Dominique Foxworth. Let's hear what he has to say about your beloved Bucs team.
Then I'll take Tampa. There's not a ton of new there.
It's going to be the Panthers?
No, I said Tampa.
Bucs?
Yeah, and so I don't believe in Baker Mayfield the way that you do. I think that he had a good season last year, but he lost the reason why he had a good season. We all gave the credit to Canales. Canales is gone.
The way that
Shut the fuck up.
Reaction, that was me. That was me.
How many games did the Buccaneers get blown out in? Did anyone answer the question?
Better yet, how many tickets did the Carolina Panthers sell last year?
Less than. Look, we didn't get. Did we ever get blown out any games? I don't think we ever did. We never got blown out.
How many division titles they got?
It would have been early in the year. I don't think they got.
I don't even put it all on Canales. I think the defense kept them in a lot of games.
Yeah, but they traded the best
defensive
defensive
we
player.
score more than 22 points? Not often. We won games 19-14, 19-12, 19-18. That's how we won. We won hard fought, grinded out wins. We didn't blow many people out. We did it now and again, but we also never got blown out, and that's due to Todd Bowles' defense.
Exactly. Mr. Dominique Foxworth, I know you don't even watch the Bucs that way because he said Tampa, where you get Carolina Panthers from. Where were you listening? And then how do you not believe in Baker when he does his job? First of all, they said he was going to be trashed in. This is what I truly think that I think the league has a vendetta against Baker. You know why? Because he didn't live up to their expectations with Cleveland. So they're punishing him for making them look stupid, not realizing they already sound stupid with the things they're saying. And Dominique Foxworth, what you're saying is asinine because you obviously didn't watch the Bucs. You didn't watch a team because they were basically what happened was they were talking about the teams being NFC that were strong. And now they did say that they don't believe in Dallas, but he took the Rams over us, and the Packers. Where did we get off in this train about the hype of Green Bay? Mind you, the Bucs, we
Oh my God,
Bay.
we haven't even talked about that.
And Jordan Love is on the list, but how is Baker Mayfield now on the top? Would you guys like to know what their stats were? Jordan Love, 4,159, 7th, 32 touchdowns, 2nd, 11 ints, 62.1 overall rating. You guys are ready for Baker Mayfield? 4,044 yards. That is 9th. 28 touchdowns. That's 7th. 10 interceptions. 54.3 rating. So in a way, their stats are very similar. It's not too far off. So how is it that Baker isn't up there and he doesn't get the hype? Why do they want him to fail so much, guys?
Popularity contest, man.
Hey, Tony, can you explain that? Those stats you just saw.
I just think that I think a lot of it is that with Love being so young and for
the reliable team.
he doesn't run a lot. He only had 250 rushing yards. But the thing about the Packers is this is a stat I remember from last year. I believe they had the youngest roster in the NFL last year. So people, I mean, they're really young. So people are up on that. And you look at that and how well they did in the playoffs. But yeah, regular season, there probably wasn't too much difference.
And they don't have a defense still. So, and Baker Mayfield did something that not even the great Tom Brady did. He went into the Green Bay Packers Lambeau Field and did a 158.3 QB rating. He torched them, and that game. The Packers and the Jaguars was the best game we played all last season. But look at the dominance. Why do they get this big boost? Why? Because they embarrassed the Cowboys. Look at what the Bucs did to the Eagles. We beat that team. So I don't understand why the Bucs.
Y'all think Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback?
No, he's not elite. He's a good quarterback.
Very good quarterback.
Surrounded by very good.
I'd say the next tier down.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't want to spend any time on them fuckers.
No.
I just wanted to ask the question. That's all. Because I hear some shit. That's all.
No, that's fair. But to reiterate on this, what would you guys consider a blowout?
A blowout.
What's the minimum points you've got to lose by?
Well, 14.
14. Okay, so give me a second. I'll try and do my math. So Detroit beat us by 14. They're the only team to technically blow us out. Everyone else is under 14.
There you go. You're resting our case, guys. We know. Trust me. There was never a game where I was like, "Oh my God, the Bucs just got." There was never a 38-3 like beatdown. We didn't, because now that is something that we want Bowles to take the next step in, because to keep his pedal on the gas, but that's a whole nother conversation. But the defense was not truly the biggest problem. And yes, I criticized Bowles early, but that's because I was frustrated because I saw what Canales was doing, and
I think we all have. We all critiqued Todd Bowles because we were very unsure, because I've even gone on record on one of the Bucs radio stations down there. I think it's 95.3. I've even called in and I said, "Hey, Todd Bowles is a defensive coordinator at best." We all have. And just being upset with the fact and not really like letting him blossom. And it's kind of, I like the direction where Todd Bowles is taking this team. There's a different swagger to Todd Bowles this year than previous years. So
the first year was learning. The second year was kind of what people don't seem to understand is he I wouldn't say handcuffed himself.
It's a flush out the coaches.
An offensive coordinator that's never called plays before.
Yes.
So that's something. That's a whole new thing. That's a whole different thing. And now you're going into another season where he's also with another, I wouldn't say rookie, but a guy who has not called as many plays in the NFL, but has got play calling experience. So we're not completely green. So you're going to hopefully get a little bit more out there, and hopefully there's a bit more tick over because there's priors with the quarterback in Baker Mayfield. But his personality of who he is, I think a lot of people don't like him because he's not emotional, and that's always been my take. AJ will attest to this. People love the Bruce Arians of the world because they get in your face, they're aggressive, and they'll have you there, rah rah. I've been around coaches of all different types, sizes, and what have you. I've been around the screamy coach, and I've been around the methodical, like grumpy coach, and I've been around the guy who's stoic and don't say shit. They all work and they all don't, but they work for the group of players that they're with. And what you'll probably find is there will be ass kickers within their coaching staff. So, for example, you might find that the linebackers coach is an absolute fucking animal, and he's turning around going, "God, you motherfuckers got to get this fucking shit right." Yeah, and he's fucking talking his talk. Where Todd Bowles will be.
Yeah.
That's all he does. When a bad play goes. Yeah, but we like the red-faced Bruce Arians because it kind of shows passion, and we take a disconnect. Just because someone's not being outwardly passionate doesn't mean they don't care.
Yeah.
Right? It just means they have their own way of coping. Everyone has a coping mechanism. If we all just blew off steam, we'd all be fighting with each other all the time.
Hey, but fuck, man. Bruce Arians threw Tom Brady under the bus. Remember when Brady's first year here? He had no shame of throwing Tom. It's two different personalities.
People did not like it.
No. But I liked it because it was exactly because it was Tom Brady. It was just like, because I always said, because I have this argument with people, and they're like, "Oh, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is not an original Buccaneer. He was the missing link to what we needed." You know what I'm saying? I always said, and like I said last week's episode, if you guys haven't, go check it out. I said, Tom Brady doesn't belong in the Ring of Honor right now, but in 5-6 years from now, because the planting of the seeds of just coming here and losing is no longer an option, elevating play, like everything. That's where we'll put him in the Ring of Honor for years to come. But not to get off topic, but I actually just got a text message saying that the Packers are paying for potential in Jordan Love. Paying for potential. Wow.
I mean, you're right. Most of these guys.
How NFL contracts work.
Yeah, paying for potential. I mean, the kid ain't lying. I mean, I agree with that.
The thing is, it's a rock and a hard place because we've seen this before. Like, you can go and have a look at door number 2, but door number 2 is rolling a dice. Yes. Whereas they know they've got something. Mm-hmm. Like we're blessed with the deal we got. But,
yes, we got out of Baker. Well, we got out of Baker last year on that deal. Like, to see what you got, but I've been meaning to talk about this, and I don't want to get off the topic with you guys.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Now we're just
What
chopping it up,
the
man.
And my co-host Jamie is gonna love this. What the Packers did was fucking stupid. I would have let that I would have let him play on his. I would have let him play his last year, because if this kid does not pan out, $223 million. This is the type of contract. This is the type of shit. This is like John Gruden shit that sets your franchise back years. And if you don't believe me, go look at the Broncos. Go look at the Broncos. Yeah. This is the type of shit that that sets franchises back. So I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I think that was
they didn't need to resign him. They could have let it go and then just over. I think maybe they're looking. It's almost like they're scared to overpay in the future, because that's what's going to happen, right? If he has another good year, you're going to overpay in the future. But that also means you're kind of paying for him not to, if that kind of makes sense.
Shot, man. It's a 50-50 thing.
And Tony, I want you to get, because, you know, I know the time is going, but give us your feed on that, and then tell everybody where they can find you, and if you got any next projects coming up. What is your take on what Louis said? Because that's actually a really good point.
Well, I just want to say first that I agree with Louis, but I want to say thank you guys for having me on, first of all.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
anytime,
you guys talking with me.
Anytime.
You guys are such a deep, well of knowledge on the Bucs. I love talking to you guys. Just go to heavy.com/Bucs. To get an extra $20. Bloomsbury is putting out my book at the beginning of next year, Chase the Devil. It's set in Florida, nonfiction, so I think you guys will all like it. But thank you guys for having me on again. And I'll talk to you again soon.
Anytime.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, brother. Go Bucs. But I want to say what you were saying about Jordan. Slick is right, but again, what has he proved yet that Baker hasn't? I think the Bucs deal.
That's what I'm saying, man.
A lot better. Jordan Love all of it feels like a fantasy in a narrative, because they want to be the group to say, well, for the past 3 straight quarterbacks, they've got it right. They got it right with Brett Favre. They got it right with Aaron Rodgers. And we got it right with Jordan Love. But you don't truly know that shit. You don't know.
$223 million, bro. You better make sure you're right about that. $223 million. That's why I keep saying, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm very.
You saying shit.
Yo, $223 million. That's the type of shit. Russell Wilson, Denver Broncos. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, the only thing you could say on that is that they've had a year, but it's not the same. It's not. But I get where you're going. Now, here's the thing that I find with this. Remember that this is a franchise that doesn't have a GM. This is a team that's technically run by fans. Sometimes the fans get a little bit giddy and we do stupid things.
A lot of times, yes.
We all guilty of it. We all look at a player that we think is talented. We go, spend some money there, and we probably might pay a little bit more for that player, and it doesn't pan out. This is the issue, and they've always said this about the Green Bay Packers. Sometimes they make bad business decisions because they're just not. They have a board instead of a general manager. That's not. You've got people diving into corners, going, we should do this, and then another corner saying we should do that, and then they have to outvote each other and all this shit, and it becomes a fucking mess.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised about the product of it.
Going back to Todd Bowles, though. Go ahead, AJ. Sorry, brother.
No. You're right. Everything Slick said, you're right. I was just gonna say agree. Louis, go ahead. What about Todd Bowles? Let's get back to Todd.
Going back to Todd Bowles, though. If for all you guys out there listening, watching, whatever it is that you're doing, if you don't believe in Todd Bowles, man, go on the YouTubes and just go listen to his speech about him addressing the team before training camp opened. Now, when you do that, you're gonna see a different style, a different. I wouldn't say a different style, different version. I would say you're gonna really see who Todd Bowles really is. And I say, when I say, hey, this team can compete for a Super Bowl this year, guys. I know I'm shooting for the moon, man. I'm shooting for the stars, but this is the most polished Bucs team I've seen, because one, Todd's first year with Brady's last year, You know, he had to deal with the flushing out, the douching out, if you will, of coaches that he didn't want. And that plays a big difference because what comes into all that? Ego. Ego is a thing, man. You know, Byron Leftwich. Well, I won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Da da da. Even you know what I'm saying. So you have the ego. You know, that was the most cheese dick play calling I've ever seen, and I feel so bad for Brady. And I said it last year on my podcast. I said I wish I would have. It would have been cool to see Canales and Brady kind of maybe be on that same team almost, because Byron was so dry with his play calls. It was just so bad. But the douching of the coaching staff, and then starting to bring in his own coaching staff, and then starting to bring in certain players. And now this year, his third year with the coaching staff that he wants, that he has. We have 1 year fully under our belt. Well, 2 technically, but I would say 1 solid year with I call it the Baker year. And then just bringing in a new draft class and all this, and just now really like planting the seeds. Like I'm telling you, man, I'm not going to give my prediction on this year just yet. Before the season opens up, hopefully we can do another show, and I'll give you guys my prediction of the season, of what they might do, what they reckon might be. But I'm telling you, man, I'm excited, dude. This is a year that I'm very excited to see the Buccaneers play, because it's going to be I'm more looking forward to the offense. I'm just saying.
Same here.
But the Todd Bowles is this is
Louis,
like I said, guys.
Yeah, you're not far, Louis. Don't think that. The Bucs, because we're in the NFC, anything's fucking possible. It's a Hail Mary.
Divisional champion. We were in the divisional round. We lost to a stupid interception.
And that's the thing. I tell people, San Fran is gonna get got because Brock
Purdy went off, and they saw
a lot of problems in San Fran, man. A lot of problems in San Fran. A lot of problems.
And Detroit is still a mystery because we don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I put Detroit at the same level as us.
There you go.
We're in the same tier, man.
And we know Dallas is going to be
talent, punch for punch, blow for blow. I think I would not be shocked if it was us and them in the NFC Championship. I wouldn't be shocked.
That right there, good God, Detroit. If you get there and we whoop your asses, you're gonna be mad, because I got so many RoboCop jokes ready for y'all. But on the last segment of the show, I just want to give y'all knock these out, and we're gonna wrap this bad boy up because we're killing right now. Give me the 3 types.
We're cooking right now. We're cooking.
We are cooking. So
we're cooking. I'm going to bed.
Louis, you are the guest.
I know it's late for you, Coach. I know it's late for you.
Like 1 a.m.
So yeah, we're gonna knock this out. Give me 3 players. 1 player that you want to be a stud, that needs to come out immediately. The second guy that you want to slowly progress through the season, and then the third guy that you see that's gonna be good as the years come by.
All right. So as the years come by, I see Trey Palmer being that guy.
I'm sorry for this draft class we just got.
All right. The draft class. All right. That's tough, man, because it's like it's very little, like the window of opportunity and the window of stardom with the draft class. Like you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 guys that actually stay on the team. I'm gonna say Tyke Smith, the safety. A lot of people are not talking about him. I think he's a guy you should keep an eye out on, just because he's very versatile. He can play the nickel, he can play corner, and he can play safety. Depth. I don't know, man. Coach, go ahead and give your analysis, because it's tough. I got to think about it. Go ahead.
Okay,
Get back to me.
Number one guy who has to hit off the mark straight off the bat has to be the center. That
I agree. Graham Barton.
Line is set now that we got the center. We've always seen, like, I have no problem with Robert Hainsey. I think he's a great center. To be honest, I have a lot of respect for him for the sheer fact that he wasn't expected to do that role, and he did a solid job. I wouldn't say a great job, sorry. Solid job to step up in that role in a position that he's not really known for. I believe he played tackle originally for a smaller school. But Graham Barton, that has to be the guy from day one, has to be hitting the ground running. The guy developing for me, has to be Chris Braswell. The reason being is if you can get that work you get out of Yaya Diaby, and now you got Chris Braswell, now you're really cooking with gas, because I say the only thing against the top Bowls defense last year was there wasn't enough consistent pass rush. So I would go there. And then it gets tough because you could look at a Jalen McMillan. I don't expect him to pop off the sheet straight away, but maybe in a few years, he could be the next Chris Godwin, so to speak. Or a Tyke Smith, or Bucky Irvin, who could be that power yards guy who always earns you the hard yards. But that's more of a role player. But someone like Tyke Smith maybe takes over the role and becomes another starting safety and plays that position. But it's going to be one of those two guys. And right now, I've gone offense, defense. We'll go with defense. Tyke Smith to eventually become a starter at the safety position.
Damn, that's nice. See, we coaches be thinking alike. Go ahead, Louis.
I got so all right. Like I said, I see Tyke Smith flying under the radar and just being that guy because he's got a good supporting cast. I mean, I went back and watched the highlights, and this kid, I like him. A guy that I think that the Buccaneers can develop. I like Cade Otton a lot. I do, and I've always been very crucial of him. But Devin Culp, that kid at tight end, I like his build. I like his stature. I'm curious to see what he does in the preseason. And I think that's a guy. I think the tight end position is still wide open. So look out for him.
That's dope.
I think Cade Otton's set as the starter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But is he a lock, though? Is he
I think Cade Otton is a lock.
I think he is. Okay. I think he's got better every year.
He's the main reason why Baker threw that fucking pick.
And I love the fact he doesn't wear gloves. There's something about that just makes me I like that guy even more.
That's old 90s style football, baby.
He's an actual tight end. I'm gonna give y'all mine. I'm gonna throw this out. Because me and Slick, we on there. We thinking here.
I like Braswell a lot. Don't get me wrong. I love Braswell. Like my buddy, my co-host, he's a huge Alabama fan too. And I asked him, I said, yo, Jamie, what's up with Braswell? He's like, hey, you guys got a solid pick there. But I said Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, I think he's not going to give up that outside position because I think this is another one contract year. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to get right around 9 sacks. And I think I don't think Braswell is going to get a lot of playing time because I think Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is going to finally put it together. Hopefully.
Ooh. Well,
all gas, no brakes. I want to give him a new nickname. Just saying, I want to give the dude a new nickname because I think he reminds me of Simeon Rice, just unpolished.
JD sack.
I like that. That's dope. Well, Louis, I would say Braswell. The reason why I want him to be immediate because if he does that could light a fire under Joe trying to shake his ass and make him do better. Then for the guy, that's who I want to be my stud. For the guy that I want to progress through the season, it would be Bucky Irvin. He needs to compliment Rashad White, and he compliments that. Oh my goodness, the Bucs are gonna be nasty. And then for years to come, it will be Jalen McMillan, like you said, because I don't want him to feel pressure, but I want him to be good enough to where he learns. Because I do think that eventually if he does have a monster season, and so does Chris Godwin, we're gonna have to make a choice.
Can I make another bold prediction?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I ain't gonna regret this one. Fuck it. All right. So I said Rashad White, 2,000 all-purpose yards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's gonna want to sub out of the game a lot. So I said on my show, I said, hey, a lot of people are like high on Bucky Irving, rightfully so. I like the kid too. But he hasn't played it down yet. You have to put the kid in the position to be successful. Let him get his feet wet. Put that kid in the kickoff returns. I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see Bucky in the kickoff. My bold prediction is this: if Bucky Irving, if, and everybody, we live in a new generation where everybody's like they ignore half of what you say and they only listen to like a little bit. So I'm gonna say if they put him at the kickoff, I think the Buccaneers are gonna get multiple kick returns back.
All right,
with Bucky.
He's gonna be either Michael Spurlock or Peanut.
Nah, better.
Hey, but for the Buck fans out there, if you know who Spurlock and Peanut is, you a real one. We lived through that.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you again for joining us on the Aftermath on 102.9 The Game, Broad Street. Tell everybody, Louis, where they can find you and if you have anything coming up.
All right. So here's the thing, guys. You guys can find us on all major platforms for podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, wherever you guys listen to your podcast. The Frozen Pirate podcast is on there. Jamie and myself, we're kind of assholes. We kind of break down the week. We break down the Bucs and all that stuff. This Sunday, I'm going to be recording an episode with a special guest, so stay tuned for that. It'll be uploaded Monday. And like I said, you guys can find me on Instagram at the Frozen Pirate Podcast and on Twitter at Frozen Pirate Podcast. And also, we're going to be doing a free jersey giveaway. And the way people are going to be getting a free jersey is we're going to be printing out T-shirts, and a lucky winner is going to receive a T-shirt and a jersey. But you got to buy a T-shirt first. Just saying. So do the right thing. Like, subscribe, and follow us. And shout out to you guys as always. It's a pleasure. Love being on here with you guys. So happy I'm part of the family, man.
All right. Thank you, Louis. And as always, go Bucs,
Okay, brother.
Go Bucs, bro. Let's go.
I love it. I love
Let's
it.
go.
I love it.
Let's
I love
go.
it, man. But yes, again, guys, thanks again. And this is AJ Turnip in the house. You can always find me on my personal podcast. It's about Buck in Time. So just check out this beautiful looking thing right here. This is nice. We have merch. If you go to AJ Turn Up on Instagram, you can check that out as well. But as
Turn up
always,
in style, people. Turn up in style.
exactly, turn up in style.
Hey, AJ, you gotta get we gotta get it. We gotta get one for the game. We gotta get it. We gotta get turn up in style. Threads.
I got you. That's always there. And as always, thank you guys and go Bucs. Take care of yourself, Slick.
Love you. Catch you soon, brother.
You too, my man.
Okay, guys, that is pretty much the end of the show. So thank you for persevering with us. There's a nice bit of heated discussion. I love a good discussion where people have a varied opinion because it just gets the juices flowing. Everyone has a different angle on how things are done, and that's what I love. I love the fact that I'm not always right. I love the fact that other people have a difference of opinion to me, and that's what makes conversation good. That's what makes chopping it up in your barbershop or down the pub, in my case, of just chatting a bit of football, chatting a bit of sport. Obviously, we have the Olympics going on right now, and myself, I'm in the middle of playoffs, so I'm super excited to have my first playoff berth and prepping for this team, the Gateshead Senators, and see if we can whip that ass and get into the the semifinals, and then we'll go off to, or as you guys like to say, the semifinals, and then we'll go off to Brit Bowl and hopefully win a chip, and then a ring may come my way. But first, the work's got to get done. And in this meantime, we got Buccaneer football to salivate over so we can be ready for week 1. Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs.